So, Zootopia 2 premiered almost 2 weeks ago from when this video is being posted, and so far, everyone has been saying the same line. This has been better than the first movie, and yeah, I must acknowledge this actually was far better than the first one, personally speaking. Yeah, I reckon such a blockbuster deserves the acclaim and the tsunami of memes on social media, right? Imagine joking and trolling online. Who would be so edgy as to make a joke online in 2025, am I right? But we are not here for the memes. We're here to talk about Zootopia 2. And it goes without saying that there will be spoilers, so I will try to keep them minimal, but I need to talk about the movie and I need to quote stuff from the film, so you guys been warned. That being said, hi everyone, this is Zyly the Fox, and welcome back to a brand new video. I don't generally tend to believe in second chances, so I knew I was going to be quite critical when the time of watching eventually came. And this is something that has me conflicting for quite a while this far. Disney has been my utmost favorite movie franchise since I was a little fox, but during these last 10 to 15 years, they have been putting their foot on it quite bad, I would say. So I don't quite understand why on one year they produce a very criticized movie, and after a year they are acclaimed by a completely different movie, but at the same time they are successful. So I don't know, I'm just a fox. What I did know, however, is that a year ago when Zootopia 2 was announced at D23, I made a video on what I was expecting to see in this alleged upcoming premiere. Side note, I have always wanted to try this time capsule type video, so I'm so excited to finally be able to do this. So crossing that out of my bucket list. So here we go. iPad ready? Oh sheesh, I need to take this off. No shaming poodling. All YouTube video ready? Play this. 8 years ago, Jesus Christ, the ear rape. What the heck was I thinking of when I decided to post a video with this audio? What did I even think this was actually a good idea? Thinking about it, this is actually proof of how my videos have improved. Good job, Zyly. Good job. Good job, little fox. Good job. Way to get the actual footage, Zyly, and the truth is, nah. This is a script! No way. If you want to be successful in content creation, embrace your cringy self and have fun. Oh my god. Some other releases were announced, but who cares? Wishing for Nicky Wild, am I right? Oh boy, oh. As I was saying, yeah, embrace your cringy selves, you know? I mean, I am simping for him like day one, alright? What can I say? I'm gay. The video in 4 main ideas. We'll talk about biomes, we'll talk about relationships, we'll talk about stories, and we will eventually talk about fanservice. Damn, the organization skills. Let's cover the same aspects, alright? I don't know what strange thing I must have been on while I recorded that video, but all the aspects I used to analyze Zootopia at the beginning, like the release of Zootopia 2, were actually seen in the movie. Like, OMG, really surprises me. So let's do that. Let's go the same way. Let's go by that. Let's get right into it. Breathe it in! Right at the beginning of the clip, we see Nick and Judy talking to a beaver and what appears to be a new biome, similar to that of a swamp. I can tell it's called the Marsh Market, so yay! We've got a new district to add to a beautiful metropolis. Will we be able to ride by train there, or I don't know, I hope to see that. What to expect? I mean, I was such a sim for trains. Now, while I was making the video, I hadn't noticed that in the picture, like there on top, there was a tube. I mean, it was very vague, but I must acknowledge, yeah, that gave away some hints so as to know an aspect I wanted to see. And that's the means of transportation. Leaving aside the tube pun, of course, like, I must admit that showing how mobility works in Zootopia in terms of public transit added to the realism of the movie itself. Especially considering that some lines, for example, like the red line, are deadly dangerous for terrestrial mammals, given how long it is, you know? They thought about everything, I would say, even the emergency exits in case someone got there by accident, and that already talks a lot about the level of detail that is impressive, almost as good as the quality of the puns, you know, Michael Giacchino puts on his songs, you know, if you know what I mean. Never. Also, this is a big spoiler, so I will just cover it briefly. Well, in the first movie, we got to explore crime in the big downtown area of Zootopia. We now get to know the outskirts. According to this map, the movie takes place in the Canal District, you know, Sahara Square, but mainly in Tandratown. And speaking of Tandratown, we get to explore the shady past of that district together with a brief history lesson on Zootopia's foundation. I must say that it was quite interesting to actually see history of the metropolis and to know that the actual founding fathers of the town were expelled by a corrupt force. I mean, big spoiler alert, so take the video out if you haven't watched the movie. But all in all, that exploration of missing areas that we never knew about makes us even participants. It puts us at the same place, you know, at the same place of that of the inhabitants of Zootopia, like the Zootopia residents, since we share the same amount of information about the city as any other inhabitant of this place. So in sum, exploration of biomes and life, checked. The character building and how their relationships were forged clearly imitated that of early childhood developing. The fact that Judy and how Gideon's teasing molded her, and also her parents' preconception of foxes influencing her, was a good starting point when she first arrived in Zootopia. The same can be said about Nick Wilde, whose childhood was not any less hard. Remember these little rascals? It's good to see that what motivated Judy to be an officer was a force that came from a preconception that labeled her from early childhood. This strength for motivation can also be seen in Mike Wazowski from Monsters University, and it's a great resource that shows the audience that resilience in life is key in order to succeed. Using this in children's movies is powerful because it teaches young kids that effort is key in becoming a better person. However, I also have to give props to the negative forces. And yes, this is powered. The links could be understood as what Bellwether was in the first movie, you know, the little unharmful creatures that all of a sudden become the masterminds of a twisted, deeply rooted childhood drama. Oh my goodness. So all of that really adds to the movie, and this layer of shadiness is what made this movie much more profound. If you follow Zootopia from the early stages, like the first movie, the very first movie, you will know that the original script for the first movie was going to be much darker and much more complicated than what it actually was. Personally, I believe the second movie came in to do away with that lack of bravery the writers had when they wrote Zootopia 1. The fact that there was corruption, the fact that there was a whole civilization buried in oblivion, and the fact that there are criminals who actually fear criminals, that, you know, that talks a lot about the writers trying to resemble a world that people know exists in real life, and it's far from getting better. That's a powerful narration strategy that makes Zootopia 2 much deeper and realistic than its predecessor. So yeah, that's amazing. Now, focusing on how our main characters have grown, you can tell by the way they see each other, talk to each other, and go about their businesses together that they are more closely connected.
Well, you know, we did crack the biggest case the city's ever seen. Pretty sure we can handle the juggling seal.
I am not implying they are dating at all, but I fall for my sins, and I hope they are into something.
We all love interspecies relationships, am I right?
No, Zyly, we don't. But something negative I must recognize is that Judy and Nick become too arrogant and conceited at their jobs. This even causes their colleagues to dislike them at some point. And can we make a pause to notice how this movie also focuses on police corruption? Like, we literally had a scene where a rich dude has control over what public forces do, you know, with the lives of others. This was way too much for a kid's movie, and that's what I was saying before. This movie excels at portraying a corrupt world and how different social powers manipulate the lives of those in disadvantage. Now, going back at what I mentioned about these two growing up, I believe the emotional wound that they had from their childhood finally healed, and that's mainly what I wanted to see in this movie. Judy, on the one hand, becomes more accepting of her insecurities and embraces the fact that she, as everyone else, has flaws, but she uses them to be a better person, helping others instead of holding up to strict rules, and the know-it-all traits that put her in her conflicts in the first place. Nick, on the other hand, lets go of the horrible prejudice that foxes are tricky and shifty. If you see the scene, you know, when they are arranging to get into the gala, we can read how he sees his reflection and understands that even if his mother was never seen in the movie, something that I was expecting to see here but never happened, he remembers her very fondly as he arranges his suits. That scene was very adorable. It shows that he still remembers her mother and that she always wanted to see him in a good way. That, guys, was absolute cinema. 1 minute, guys. Yeah, the video has to develop. Additionally, as regards the whole background, I expect to see more lore explanation. If there's something that really makes this story better, at least for me, is exploring the past to understand the present. And we... I mean, I swear, and I repeat myself, I don't know what I was on that day, but that came naturally. I mean, I repeat, and I quote myself, know the past to understand the present. Wow. As I was saying at the beginning of the video, exploring the beginnings of Zootopia as a civilization was tremendous. And not only that, but the push for powers adds spice to the recipe. The whole double-crossing story as to who was the inventor of the districts and how the city in turn was created was outstanding. And I'm gonna stay that and I will say that. How about we get to see more about Judy? Nothing, and I mean nothing, will make me hate the Lynx. You did right, Pobert. Come back, come over, come back and take over. You're allowed to do that. Nothing is gonna make me hate that Lynx. Nothing. Yeah, as we see in the conference.
Meet Gary.
Gary. Later, fosters a new whole adventure.
Now, reptiles have a shady past in Zootopia.
And what do you mean reptiles have a shady past in Zootopia? Dude, shady past. Bombastic and sensationalist. I love it. Almost, I gotta love this. It's like almost as if the Zootopia team knew what furry drama was. Am I right? Might there be a network of some illegal trafficking? Maybe I'm biased towards the idea of a snake itself being involved here, since a snake is part of the bad guys. Great. Okay. Now pause here. Yeah. That was a misconception, but I am glad that the movie took a different stance. The idea behind a reptile being a possible criminal was a way of showing how we are all unconsciously, and even if we don't want to, extremely judgmental. Just because the snakes slithers and attacks in real life, we tend to think they will do the same in the movie. And that was the main argument. I mean, they had been framed. I mean, yeah. Again, this character exploration made me realize how rooted we all are in terms of social classification and discrimination altogether. So yeah, props to Zootopia there, making us realize that preconceptions are bad. Sometimes the bad guys are those ones who are in power, you know, wink, wink. Political joke, wink, wink. But I do expect to see more cross-cultural references in series and movies, as it was the case of Breaking Bad in the first one. And well, we've got typical Netflix parody, checked. This one is a little bit, you know, far-fetched, but Ariel's Grotto and Hook's Bait and Tackle, Peter Pan and the Little Mermaid. Well, this one also was very beautiful when I saw it in the theater. The Lady and the Trump music while they are riding in the swamp, nice one. The Coca-Cola reference, good. The Shining Maze, oh my goodness. Ratatouille, amazing. Tangled, you know, little far-fetched if you ask me, but okay. I didn't get this one until I watched it for like the third time, but you know, gotta love the fact that they use a pen, you know. And this is an honorable mention of the classic portrayal of villains in Disney movies. You know, my goodness, they are good at playing with colors, I must admit that. Last but definitely not least, the hype towards the fan community of a movie, band, or series is one of the most important. I say it's the cornerstone of success. You can have a great story, a great argument, but if you do not address the community and get to them, you've got nothing. Zootopia excels at delivering this message, and well, Disney has always succeeded at making furries happy and also creating furries as well, right? The thing, yeah, totally. I mean, they do. The puns, the expressions, the cross-reference to more Disney movies and other pop culture references, checked. And the fact and this is something amazing I've seen online, the fact that the whole fandom attended the theaters in fursuit. I love this community, dude. Background characters going about their anthro businesses, like holding paws, maybe interspecies relationships. No, Zyly, stop it.
All of your favorite characters are back. Clawhauser!
Gotta love how she says Clawhauser and Bogo are back. I expect to see... lies. No. No, they are not back, liar. I must say that while the favorite background characters from the first movie had small screen time, there was also the opportunity for new background characters to shine. For example, Nibbles. That beaver was a weirdo at the beginning, and they turned out to be the cornerstone of the resolution of the movie. That was what I meant when I wanted to see background characters leaving a mark. While Clawhauser and Bogo were clickbait material, they just stuck to their roles at the Force and just left the spotlight for certain other characters, which I also expect to see in Zootopia 3. And yes, Zootopia 3, because if you stayed until the end, there are a lot of references and hints for a third movie. I just hope they don't flunk it. They did amazing with the second one, and I am afraid the third one, if any, doesn't live up to its predecessors. I mean, it's a valid concern, come on. Well, it is fine. Bye. Jesus, I need some water. Let me put on my paws. There you go. Okay. The rest of the video is just me begging for the directors to make it worth watching. Cringe though it may be, I feel I expressed concern there, and that concern was relieved when I watched this masterpiece at the theaters. Zootopia 2 exceeded my expectations, and I dare say it surpassed the excellence of the first movie, which is something I have seen very little in the movie industry. I just hope that if there is a third movie, please try not to end up like How to Train Your Dragon, because sometimes it's better to have two successful movies than a complete disappointing third part. But hey, that's just me. What you guys think? If you enjoyed today's video, please let me know in the comments what you enjoyed most about Zootopia 2, where did you see it, and if you took your fursuit to the theater. And please also tell me what you had expected to see in the movie that actually made it to the film. Now, if you liked the video, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. That's how you can help me grow. And if you have a friend who loved Zootopia as much as you did too, consider sharing this video. Maybe they also had some predictions that also turned out right. And maybe they like this video too. Guys, I hope to see you all in the next one, and take good care of yourselves, everyone. Meow!